We're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to the Beacon Roundtable show with the foremost Beacon guys in all of on-chain finance. You got me.
Everybody.
You got Andrew. You got Jangle. You got Gabe.
Yo.
Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Yes, indeed.
Happy Wednesday.
Hopefully everyone's doing well. Hopefully everyone, all of our listeners, we do have a lot of people from Florida who watch us, so hopefully you all are okay. Had a hurricane come through, Hurricane Idalia. Hopefully you guys are doing okay.
Is it landing now or just like
it
this
landed
morning or
2 a.m? Yeah, up in the Big Bend area of Florida, which just hasn't seen a hurricane landing in decades. So, yeah, it's
There's a pun there somewhere.
There is. I was trying to keep it light, but of course I want to. Myself growing up in Florida, just wanted to, make sure that everybody out there's doing okay.
Yeah, it looks like the rain is about to hit us here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Looking at this map, I'm like at the very... Yeah, well, I'm surprised I'm not in rain. I'm like, it should be raining for me right now.
Well, I saw that it could re-strengthen as it heads out to the Atlantic and, may touch Hatteras. I guess we'll see how that whole Cape Fear area kind of looks in a little bit.
Yeah, there's another crazy hurricane in the Atlantic right now. It's just not going to hit anybody. It's just floating out in the Atlantic. That's probably a vibe out there. So I wonder if maybe they mingle. Does that ever happen? Andrew?
It happened with
You're our in-house
Superstorm
meteorologist.
Sandy.
Oh, really?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they like to chat when they meet a few hundred miles off the East Coast around Bermuda. I think that's where they go to have tea.
Yeah, that's where the alpha is, inside the eye of those hurricanes.
That's where they spill the tea, if you will.
All right, boys. What are we talking about today?
We're gonna start with a little bit of tea. We're not particularly the biggest of fans of BitBoy, but unfortunately BitBoy or Ben Armstrong got fired from his own company brand. According to the news, apparently it came to light that his mental health was in question. He had a relapse with a previous substance abuse problem, was one of the driving factors. So, ultimately, it's no lapsing matter. I know many of us know a lot of people who are have issues with substance abuse. So I do hope that that Ben finds the help that he needs and comes back better than ever.
I hope he doesn't come back. I hope he stays gone. Get the hell out of this industry, you scamming piece of never mind. I think it's too early in the stream to curse. But I wish his health the best. I think it was on this show before we brought it to YouTube when he was chasing down SBF in the Bahamas.
Yes, in the Bahamas.
Was clearly coked out of his mind in a lot of those videos. He was very unwell in those videos. So, I'm sure I'm not a legal expert, and I'm sure me not being a legal expert is going to come up multiple times in this live stream. But he is getting some attention from, I think, the SEC and some federal prosecutors. Like, he is a serial pump and dumper. Like, he has sections of his website, maybe not anymore, but where you can pay him a few tens of thousands of dollars to shill your shitcoin, right? Like, it is pretty shameless how he's used novice retail entrance into the crypto market to just be exit liquidity and to siphon value from the industry and set us all behind. And probably realistically tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people have lost money and left this industry after getting crypto curious, finding BitBoy, losing, getting shilled the next 100x gem that then goes to zero and then never returning. Right. So I cannot emphasize this enough, glad if he's not making content anymore, but I wish his health the best. So good luck with that, BitBoy. I can't help but be a little bit skeptical that the entire reason is his health. Maybe it has something to do with the legal action that is looming over him for his obvious grifts over the last few years.
Well, if SBF can launch the Bald token from prison, I wouldn't necessarily, and the Pepe token, I wouldn't put it past these things being possible.
House arrest. I think SBF was on house arrest at that time. Now he's back in jail, but he was on house arrest when the Bald token launched.
He still has access to PowerPoint though, so I heard he can play Doom on that.
Not Canva, right? Not the AI powered PowerPoint, which is really all the rage, at least on my Twitter timeline.
What happened with FTX relaunching? I thought that was all over the news a few weeks ago, that they'd recovered all the funds and they were relaunching FTX.
I don't think they recovered all the funds, but I think that there was an idea that they could maybe make up some gap with equity value of relaunching the exchange. I think John Ray's on the case. Would you guys trade on FTX? I'd trade on FTX only if I had BitBoy's referral code.
I mean, I'd want to see them do at least a slight rebrand, right? Like they could
FTX
be
Pro,
XTF,
SBF. Oh, yeah. They could just call it SBF.
They could call it SBF, and to make a killing. I'll be honest. I mean, if Kyle Davies and Suzu can do it, how could why can't John Ray with SBF?
What was the name of their exchange again? What is it called?
OPNX.
OPNX. Why is it called Open Exchange? That's what it is.
Yes,
OPNX,
yes.
Yeah. OPNX. That's good. That's good.
I hear there's
no volume on there. Isn't it specifically for trading bankruptcy claims?
and treasuries.
T-bills and bankruptcy
had to go with
claims.
stable.
The last bastion of DeFi.
Somewhere. There we go. What I wanted to say was,
do they allow
obviously?
Sorry, Chris.
I think they do to a degree. I'd have to look.
Only long,
as it should be.
It's the super cycle of bankruptcy claims.
Clearly, Django leaving his holiday has brought him back
some deep cut jokes today, guys. Deep cut jokes, very accessible for our audience.
No bear market for these bankruptcy claims. Up only. It will leave. What's that quote? Investors sitting sidelined in stables as our bankruptcy claims moon. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we probably shouldn't make. I mean, at this point, are they niche jokes? We are deep in the crypto winter. Everybody watching should get these jokes, right? No,
I don't think they would be here otherwise. Most likely, yeah.
Fair enough.
That's
fair enough.
Well, anyway, what I wanted to say was, crypto can be really taxing on your mental health. Invest in you. That's the best asset you can invest in. Look at Andrew. He shaved. Unbelievable.
It's true. I did.
Look at him. Looks like a brand new man.
Tip. If crypto is taxing on your mental health, you're probably over allocated. I think that sleep adjusted returns are what you should be maximizing, and if the volatility of the markets is getting you down, then I'm not saying you should sell any. I'm just saying that maybe you should not hold so many shit coins, and maybe look at your overall portfolio allocations, be maybe I need some cash, maybe I need some T-bills, maybe I need just a little breathing room. Let me give Bank of America a little deposit. Okay, maybe not them, maybe your local credit union, but maybe have a little bit more cash if you're freaking out about the market condition. And that'll help.
Yeah, if you're regularly dipping into trading positions that you have open because you need to take cash out for expenses, that's probably not a good idea to manage that.
What if you just borrow against your ETH longs?
That's kind of dangerous there, bud.
You got to be able to put up collateral if it goes the other way, yeah.
Only if it's leverage longs, I guess.
Imagine if you could be your own bank and just borrow from yourself, guys.
Without a credit check?
Exactly.
without terrible like lines waiting and angry people and loan officers?
Yes, all you have to do
I
is
can do
post your
that?
own collateral. Yep.
Where can I do that?
On chain.
Oh my god.
Unreal.
You know, I'm an outspoken critic of debt in general, but yeah, we can move on.
Before we move on, just wanted to say, outside of these, odd tangents we keep running onto, please, if you're enjoying yourself, please hit that like button. Smash the likes. Follow Crypto Squid. Hopefully you get to head back home today.
or the dislike button, really. Whichever one. Both sides.
Whichever one. If only we made money off of dislikes. That'd be great.
It doesn't even show us how many dislikes we have.
No, that's been removed.
Anyone remember the YouTube ratings? The 5-star thing? That was fun.
Yeah, I remember that.
Those were the days.
I remember when they were trending. Remember you could be number 8 or number 2 in so-and-so content?
Yeah,
those are the days.
Dude, I remember when it wasn't a homepage, when there was only subscription and search bar.
Yeah.
Those
are good old days.
I remember when YouTube was an HTML site and you filled out a little form and they mailed you a DVD with the video you're looking for.
I think that was Netflix.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Netflix. I have an old Netflix DVD that I never returned.
I do too.
Lost season 2. Cop that from Netflix. But they still do that service. They still do the mailing service, I realized. Or I heard on a podcast. I didn't really realize it. They could have been lying to me, and now I'm perpetuating that misinformation. So maybe we should jump into the crypto stuff.
Fact checkers.
More exciting SEC news this week.
Yes, unbelievable. Grayscale wins. First XRP, now Grayscale, the GBTC fund. They have won their case against the SEC. And what have they won? Well,
nothing. No,
nothing really.
No, I think it's a big deal. I'm not a legal expert, but the legal experts on Twitter say it's a big deal. I think because of the harsh language that the court used around basically the SEC playing favorites with different companies and treating Grayscale unfairly, and all their existing arguments for not approving the spot Bitcoin ETF getting absolutely ripped to shreds. So I think that the SEC is going to, or Grayscale is going to kind of go, well, actually, the SEC is going to go back to the drawing board here and probably try to find another way to deny it, is what I would assume. But from the most recent commentary from a few legal experts in the crypto industry, it seems to put it at like a 65 to 75% chance of GBTC, and then therefore probably a lot of other like BlackRock and whoever else, Fidelity, being able to launch their own Bitcoin ETF, but the GBTC being turned into a true spot product is seeming to be pretty likely, but not absolutely guaranteed. That's my kind of takeaway.
Yeah. Well, this decision just says that they now have to review it. They can't just outright deny it. So really that just means that they're now going to review and come up with a decision on it. It's interesting because, off the back of it, we're now looking to the end of this week where, we have the first deadline looming for, 7 of these, what we're calling the big 7, I guess, of the Bitcoin spot ETFs that have been filed. Most likely they're going to be delayed. The SEC is just going to sit there and try and delay for as long as possible. That would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if that was the case. Guys, what do you think the probability is of this actually being approved this weekend?
1%, maybe.
Oh, this weekend? Oh, yeah, no, not high. But in a year or two?
Well, not 2. They only have until, looks like March.
They have until March of 24. Yeah.
So they can't push it back?
They're going to definitely at that point.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 4 deadlines. So essentially, I foresee them delaying past this, but not past this. I think there's gonna be a lot of scrutiny, a lot of oversight pressure for them to get that going. But I guess the better question is, go ahead.
Yeah, they may still be like in the middle of like 5 lawsuits. They're already in a lot of lawsuits against Coinbase, Binance. So they have a lot on their plate. Now they're going back and trying to fight Ripple again, trying to fight the ruling that came out a month ago. They're probably going to have to do the same with this recent one as well. So they're going to have their hands full, and then they have to deal with all this stuff going on at the same time.
Yeah, I saw a take that they're going to let this go because they have much bigger legal battles to fight. And kind of let this happen and see what happens. That was a take that I saw earlier today, and I was like, I could definitely see that happening. But I guess the better question is for people who are watching this and wondering, I haven't pulled the trigger on buying BTC or ETH. Should I start accumulating before, obviously Q4 is historically a gangbusters time in crypto, specifically on chain for these specific assets? Is it time to get your accumulation strategy ready?
Yeah, it's been time. It's been time for about a year, maybe a year and a half.
Just this Monday, the SEC submitted a sealed motion against Binance, and the fact that it's sealed means it's likely the DOJ is involved to some extent, or that's usually what happens if the DOJ is involved and trying to do their own thing at the same time. So that's the only like big cause for concern. It's a bit of a red light on Binance for me, but yeah.
I think the chance is probably higher than 1%, but not too much higher. I've spent the last 2 minutes trying to figure out what the Scottish teens think, aka people on betting markets, but I can't actually see that there's any betting markets that are following this particular.
Well, you can look at the GBTC discount. That's the best way, in my opinion. And yesterday or 2 days ago, before this announcement, it was sitting at about a 24% discount, and it's at an 18% discount now. So it moved, 6-7% in a day, which is pretty significant.
Wait, so the GBTC Bitcoin Trust is that impacted by them actually launching an ETF?
Yeah, directly? Because Grayscale owns this product, and so if they get a spot ETF approved, then they would be able to operate this as a spot ETF, and I believe it would open up the door to closing the discount. Is like the consensus.
So they would be able to transition it from a trust to an ETF.
That's my understanding. Or that, that basically, if this was able to be a spot product, then they would be able to delete this discount, which I don't know why they would necessarily want to do, because from their perspective, they're collecting like 2% fees on this, and your investors are kind of trapped in it because if they sell, they're selling at a massive discount. But yeah, at the beginning of the year, it was like a 50% discount, 50% discount. So like with and that's a discount against the price of BTC, right? So, and BTC was like 15K, right? Or maybe 20K around that, somewhere in there, 16, 17, 18K in November, January. So GBTC, like the trade of the year, really. I mean, better than Bitcoin so far.
Well, we have this tweet from Eric Balkunas from Bloomberg. They're upping the odds of these spot Bitcoin ETFs launching by the end of the year up to 75% based off the back of this. Yeah. So if you're not accumulating BTC or even just buying MSTR, MicroStrategy, could be a good time to kind of think about how you want to get into some of that before you might get
Not financial
price
advice.
range you want to accumulate. Not financial advice.
He's talking about his personal situation and not giving you advice.
Better yet, just feel good about the purchases you've already made.
Or about the friends you make along the way, because that's the real gains.
Yeah. You know, personally, I'm just buying a little bit of ETH mostly every weekend. I get a little squeamish above 1900 probably. And you know, below 1700, especially below 1600, I'm a little bit more excited to buy. I don't know if we'll see 1200 again. We might, but I really doubt we see below 1000 again. So that's my thought. But you know, crypto always surprises me. We drop 50% tomorrow. So is life.
So is life.
Such is life. Such is life.
Such is life. All right, we'll go ahead and move on. So, Elon has gotten himself another license to you guys can barely read this now that I look at this. Specifically for a new state license for currency transmission in the state of Rhode Island, the great state of Rhode Island. They now have 7. We've talked about these before, where they've gotten previous licenses: Arizona, Georgia, Maryland, Michigan, Missouri, New Hampshire, as a money transmitter license. Now it's a currency transmitter license, which means it could be fiat and crypto. So we back in April we talked about X, or Twitter back then, having a partnership with eToro, where they through cash tags you can actually purchase crypto from eToro directly from the interface, I think on the mobile side. So with the rumor is that they're calling this internally as the PayPal update. Elon being a co-founder of PayPal, to now make it a one-stop shop for purchasing and sending money. Yeah, they're doing quite a few things here at Twitter to try and become a one-stop shop. Jangle was showing us yesterday that Coinbase has put it their job postings. You can look at them directly from inside their Twitter profile on X. So I don't know, guys. What do you think about this update?
A little tongue in cheek, but probably bullish Dogecoin. Because you think it's going to be Dogecoin? You're going to have to pay the Dogecoin tax to do anything with this payment app.
Yeah, I mean, that Dogecoin will be involved. I should own some Dogecoin. But
God.
I mean, Elon just stands the Doge. I mean, no, I should. It's pretty inflationary, but it's like not as inflationary as a lot of things. Like I think like 11%, 14% inflation. It's pretty much, it's just a Litecoin fork. But Litecoin
basically like the US dollar, right?
Yes. I guess. I don't know. Trueflation.com. Look that up. But has it flipped Litecoin? Surely. Yeah, it has. Yeah. Litecoin. Why would you own Litecoin when you could own Dogecoin, the much more amenable version of Litecoin? Why would you really own either? Well, because Elon Musk might just pump your bags. That's it. I think that it would be extremely likely that they would support Twitter, or Twitter would support Dogecoin, Bitcoin, ETH, and you got to support a stable coin, right? Like USDC, maybe, I don't know, Tether,
ADA,
because, well, I don't know, it's not really a payments network, and the thing is, like, Bitcoin and ETH aren't really payments networks either. Dogecoin at least like wants to be a payment type of blockchain, right? It's like a big block type blockchain, right? From the block wars from the Bitcoin community, and you got Bitcoin Cash, and I guess Litecoin didn't really come out of that, but it's like a similar idea, right? Like just larger block sizes, higher throughput than Bitcoin. So I think that Dogecoin is the like the most obvious crypto to support, and then Bitcoin and ETH, because why would you not support Bitcoin and ETH? And then really though, people want to do payments with currency with stable coins with USD, and people want to save in USD. So if Twitter could give worldwide access to stable coins within, I guess I can't call it the Bird app anymore because now they're X, but within X, that'd be great for a lot of people around the world, right? And it'd be great for stablecoin adoption, I think.
Now hear me out. What if Mr. Musk just goes and launches a new blockchain?
Yeah, it could do that. Yeah.
I
wouldn't keep significant funds on there though. Like, maybe they could partner with Coinbase and the OP stack to get like a blockchain that doesn't support any bridges, that is just like purely native USDC on that chain, and it's like just a payment chain, just a payment network with its own sequencer that either Coinbase runs or whenever OP stack figures out their shared sequencing is integrated with that. I think that would be, if I was in the room, that's the tech stack I would be thinking. But
like a network or chain specific only to stables. That sounds pretty cool, actually. And I think it would integrate well with X.
Yeah.
It didn't go great the last time that was tried, but it is a cool idea.
Yeah, like if Elon made his own chain, I would not feel comfortable having more than like, I don't know, like $1,000 on there or something. Like I'd be constantly withdrawing.
What if he secured it with POM, proof of meme?
Well, same situation, but if it was a OP stack layer 2 that could not, especially once OP stack figures out their fraud proofs that could not rug me, then I would use it. I would use it probably anyway. If people were willing to give me money over X, then I would take it, but then I would just immediately withdraw it. Unless
I hope he doesn't. But I feel like if there was a high school yearbook of like, founders or CEOs most likely to randomly start a blockchain, like he would be voted most likely to just out of nowhere.
I doubt it. Like, think about the things that he has done historically in his life. Like the first major company that he built was PayPal, which I guess you could say that's kind of like building a blockchain, but you got to remember at that time, there was really no reliable way to send payments over the internet. And like, that was a big problem that eBay had. And so like, they kind of specifically targeted eBay, like power users with this product, and it brought a ton of utility to them. He exited that and he built a company to launch rockets into space very efficiently, to like colonize Mars and bring satellite internet to the world, and then a car company to solve climate change via electric vehicles. So like, I don't know, like whenever I think like Alt L1 founder, I think like grifter cash grab. Whenever I think Elon Musk, I think like putting all of his chips into like a huge 0-1 innovation and like trying to actually make a huge impact on the world. But I guess maybe I'm just an Elon.
Right, that's fair.
And I mean, historically, before Twitter, since PayPal, everything he's touched has skyrocketed in value.
Yeah, I mean, not just in like sticker price, like the amount of value that he has legitimately created through just like leading unbelievable innovation. Like, it's actually crazy. It's actually nuts.
So are you making a call for Dogecoin?
Well, and he just likes Dogecoin, and I don't blame him. I mean, Dogecoin, look at it, like, wow, much wow,
such wow.
I mean, I personally, like, I'm tempted to make the argument that he is not that dissimilar from a lot of the Alt L1 grifters. Like, to me, like Tesla and Tesla's overvaluation has been a huge grift. And he keeps coming out with these like huge claims. Like, wasn't it like last year, everyone that owns a Tesla was, we already had full self-driving, so you could just rent it out as a taxi. So like the fully autonomous taxi service where your Tesla is paid for by running as a taxi while you're asleep. We're like 2 years past due on that or something. It actually seems like they're starting to fall behind because we actually do have those driverless taxis popping up in California now, and Tesla is not one of those companies that are doing it.
I mean, you can say that he's under-delivered on some of his promises, I suppose, but I mean, dude built. I mean, I see Teslas everywhere.
I mean, he's a hype man. He's a great hype man.
Especially in like California and like out west, like even in Colorado, like I see a lot of Teslas. 10 years ago, I didn't see any Teslas. So I don't think Tesla's like some vaporware. I haven't experienced their self-driving, so I can't really comment on it. But I have been in a Tesla before, and it's an awesome car. I don't know, but I mean that doesn't. There's a lot of Tesla, not just Elon Musk.
Yeah, there's an interesting argument to have that gets way off topic, I think, about whether it's actually like technologically feasible to have full self-driving with just cameras without LiDAR or other sensor technology, and whether it's actually possible to deliver full self-driving without those sensors. Like whether it can just be solved by software, but now, like I said, veering way off topic.
Yeah.
What they can chatting about Elon Musk before someone slaps me.
What they can deliver is Dogecoin integrated on X. They can certainly deliver that.
They could do that. Yes.
That's easy. Dogecoin's already a payments network, right? Sure. If you tried to integrate Bitcoin on X, you could do that as well. It would just probably clog up the Bitcoin network a lot. Same thing with ETH, unless you were doing it natively on an L2, which is why I think, okay, if they wanted to do stable coins and ETH, maybe WBTC or something, or native Bitcoin, that would have to be on the Bitcoin network. They could partner with Coinbase. This is total speculation. They could partner with Coinbase. They could say, an OP stack. You could say, build us a customizable layer 2. We don't want anybody bridging there. It can be on the OP shared sequencer and OP fault proofs when OP stack moves along its roadmap a little bit. And it can just be for stablecoin and ETH payments. And people will be able to withdraw to their own wallet and then bridge out to layer 1 if they want. And yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Or maybe they make an alt L1, but then which they could do, and people would probably use it, but then they're risking, a lot, I think. And the users are at risk by having funds on there.
Let's imagine if they did actually make an alt L1, all the fun meme coin names.
If they made an alt L1 and then the bridge got hacked. Oh. That would be bad, right?
That would not be good.
That would not be good at all. Well, that's actually a fun little segue into something I'm going to jump a little bit further up for, and that's Optimism has introduced Base, like officially, like kind of like that ceremony at the end of, Star Wars 1, where the Jar Jars and the above grounders, they're come and share the symbiotic ball. I mean, we're kind of seeing that here too, and ultimately this is with a post from the Optimism Collective, and it's very, very woo woo. But I think the interesting part here is, Optimism with their OP stack blockchains are creating, they're creating this collection, this super chain of blockchains using their tech that can talk to each other. And I think the question a lot of people said was, well, what's in it for OP? Is there value in the Optimism token moving forward? Because the stack itself is open source. Anyone can go and create their own version of a blockchain using this OP stack, using OP infrastructure. So, they talk more about being in alignment, setting a new standard, creating their law of chains, and how, if you're going to be part of the super chain, how does that work? And then they announced an interesting part, meaning Base is going to pay back revenue from their sequencer to Optimism as part of being a part of the super chain. In exchange for that, to solidify the alliance, OP is providing Base with 118 million OP tokens for the next 6 years, with the governance in Base able to figure out what they're going to do with delegating the supply. So you're going to get OP available on Base through certain incentives. Interesting, sustainable economic model. What do you guys think? Gabe, I'll start with you.
I think Django's gonna love this. So I would love to hear what he thinks about it.
Well, I wanted to say before. Obviously, he was the obvious target here because he's been pro OP in the short term. But I just wanted to see if anybody else had any.
He's pro
any
Coinbase as well.
really
So
cool.
this is a marriage made in heaven for Django, I think.
I'm kind of curious, like if Base will vote
face.
to. I want to see if like Base votes to put the OP up as collateral and then just borrow stablecoins against it for some reason. I would be. You're muted, Jangle. I'd be curious
for some reason. There's an obvious reason for buying Australian real estate. No.
That's a curve joke for anybody who's curious.
Yeah. Oh, that Egorov. Well, where to begin? The value accrual to the OP token, the incentive alignment makes sense of OP giving these tokens to Base in exchange for Base contributing some revenue of their sequencer, either greater than 2.5% of Base's total sequencer revenue or 15% of Base's net on-chain sequencer revenue. So that could, if Base continues to grow organically, and yeah, Friend.tech was kind of an isolated pop, but there still seems to be TVL growth over time. Coinbase has really a stranglehold on the U.S. market, which has the potential to onboard a lot of money into the industry, and they'll probably shuttle them right over to Base and that user experience. So I think Base sequencer revenue and stablecoin issuance, fiat stablecoin issuance right now are, from what I see, the two best business models in DeFi, right? If you've got a layer 2 that is doing a lot of volume, the sequencer revenue is can be significant, and we're on the horizon for 4844. Like 4844 is coming soon, which should drastically decrease the cost that layer 1 or layer 2s have to pay. So it should improve those profit margins. Yes, a lot of it will be passed on to the user in terms of savings, but a lot of it will go to the bottom line of running a layer 2. So it's a good source of revenue for OP. It gives Coinbase governance over the OP stack, which is good because they're committing a lot of dev power to it. They're involved in the ecosystem. They're a major contributor. There was a great tweet from Kayla a while ago. I bookmarked. I'll find it here in a second. That showed like all the different layer 2 tech stacks. Here, I'll link it for us, Chris, and you can maybe pull it up. To me, it seems like the OP stack is kind of in the lead, right? The sort of permissionless, done for you out the box layer 2s. Anybody can launch. I think it makes a lot of sense. How does the OP token eventually benefit from this in terms of like yield or revenue share? Well, I see a future where in this world of super chains, there is a shared sequencing mechanism where these different, because Coinbase has talked about wanting to decentralize their sequencing, right? Arbitrum has talked about that too. On the plus side for users, when you're on Optimism or Arbitrum, you don't have to worry about getting sandwiched because they're not going to sandwich you, right? Because they're running the sequencer. But in the future, they want to decentralize the sequencer, and they also want to keep the user experience good while decentralizing the sequencer. And so you need some sort of like economic model for the sequencer. And yeah, it could be based off ETH, but it'll probably be based off these layer 2 tokens. So there'll be a shared sequencer for a lot of OP stack chains, and it'll be the OP token that is staked in order to, and this is kind of speculation, but seems to be like the obvious course of events, right? The obvious roadmap, that the OP token is staked to then secure the sequencer or contribute to running the sequencer. and in exchange you get like a share of sequencer revenue, right? And so and then you have all of these different chains like Base who commit some percentage of their sequencer revenue to the OP collective. Those funds then go to retroactive public goods funding, which then incentivizes further technological and open source development for public goods on the OP stack and that sort of thing. So it's this really cool flywheel of like open source development and contribution and like collectivism almost that is like totally optional to participate in. And it's just like a really cool human coordination mechanism. So
what an awesome chart by Kayla. Love it. Interesting to see how this works out. These two in particular. Of course, we already talked about Dimension. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, this is very informative. I need to put this in the notes so people can check this out. This is a good one for sure. How many blockchains are in the OP stack now? Obviously, besides Base, there's also going to be OPBNB. I'm trying to think some of the other major ones. Oh, Mantle. Mantle is OP stack. They're just using a different. They're using a homegrown sequencer, and possibly the DA layer. But yeah, very cool. Very cool.
An interesting takeaway for me here is I kind of had the idea that, Optimism, Arbitrum, the layer 2 rollups were really going to result in consolidation. And consolidation would lead to a continuing compression of yields. So I think this continues to be bullish for on-chain yields because fragmented liquidity is where the money is. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree that fragmented liquidity is where the money is. I think that it makes the most sense for the ecosystem to have not fragmented liquidity. Like keeping your liquidity consolidated is better for the user experience and for.
But then you don't have to pay incentives to poach each other's liquidity. Like we want there to be this necessity for there to be fighting. In my mind, at least.
I don't think so. Because like long-term to have large amounts of capital come on chain, like, and participate in buying certain tokens, whatever those tokens might be, tokenized real world assets, or, tokens like Optimism, whatever, like you need deep liquidity and you need security. And so I think that there are two forces, pulling in opposite directions. Number one is we want few roll-ups and execution environments so that we can have non-fragmented liquidity, because I would argue that's best for everybody and the whole user experience in the industry as a whole. But also, when you have a lot of activity in one roll-up or one execution environment, then you hit scalability limits. You reach throughput limits, and then that increases transaction costs and prices certain people out. So I would say probably, like, if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I would say that by 2025, 2026, we would be looking at like dozens or hundreds of relevant layer twos. Like, yeah, sure, you have like the random shitcoin chain pop up every now and then. A bunch of people go over meme coins and rugs and then come back, right? But I'm talking like real chains that people actually use that last like months and months and months and quarters and hopefully years. I would have thought that by 2025, 2026, we'd have like a few dozen, maybe 100. Now I'm thinking like it's more likely we have somewhere in the order of magnitude of like 1,000 by 2025 or 2026. And those tech stacks that we had up earlier, like what seems to me to be the leading option is like OP, the OP stack. I'm just really, really, really excited for 4844. I think and a disclaimer, or disclosure, whatever. I do own Coinbase and OP. Coinbase stock and the OP token. But I don't think that we're moving either of those markets by discussing them here. So, yeah, no, it's just a cool stack, cool aligned incentive structure. And yes, OP is inflationary. I'm LPing it, so I'm getting really high yields on it. And so I'm more than offsetting that inflation with my yields I'm able to get on it through mostly trading volume and additional OP incentives. But also, like, I see a future where there's a lot of revenue being generated by sequencers on the OP stack, whether that be a shared sequencer, individual chain sequencers that then give kickbacks to the OP collective, like what Base is doing, or a combination of both, which I think is most likely. And then staking OP token will provide economic security for those shared sequencers and other sequencers in the OP stack. And that will provide it will generate lots of revenue. That is my thought. So OP is a shitcoin that I am very willing to have some exposure to. It's those are my thoughts. And Coinbase, they got the USDC, they got the L2 and stablecoin, wrapped up in Coinbase and exchange. So, like, I mean, that is a killer business once the market turns around, in my opinion.
Yeah, there must be some pretty strong belief from the OP side to want to make this deal as well. Obviously, Base is pretty new. And they're still in the beginning of acquiring TVL, whereas OP has been around a bit longer and it's higher up there. So yeah, they must be expecting it to go much higher than it currently is, which I think is very reasonable. Like you mentioned earlier, Coinbase is kind of not the only option, but kind of the only option to on or offboard into crypto from the US specifically.
Yeah, I think just aligning the incentives between Coinbase and OP is a no-brainer for OP. Because they've got a lot of developers, they've got a lot of ability to raise capital, ability to contribute resources to the continued development of the OP stack, which they've committed to do. So it's very exciting.
So yeah, can't wait to see those OP incentives on Base coming up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty big. Obviously, we talked about it last week with Coinbase bringing Circle in-house. So Base is definitely probably going to be the first target for native USDC coming down the chain through CCTP. So yeah, I'll be curious to see how they leverage CCTP for Coinbase customers to get USDC that they purchase down into Base very efficiently and cheaply. We'll go and move into this one. Friends of the show, Webacy, a online on-chain safety and security protocol. They're actually making the move. When we had them on for an AMA earlier back in May. They're mainly just their suite of they have a wallet monitoring system and what we call a panic button, where you can try and recover funds specifically to a hardware wallet. Great ideas. It was just only on ETH mainnet at the time. Well, they had talked about possibly moving to other chains soon, and now, as of last week, they are integrating with Arbitrum. If you sign up for Webacy's Wallet Watch, you only get one free wallet, so you'll have to pay, I think it's $10 a month to get more than one wallet checked on. But Arbitrum is now integrated, and just talking to them, they have a little announcement they want me to make that also Polygon is imminent as part of the roadmap that they're going to be coming to soon. So hopefully OP is also on their roadmap as well. Just as a thank you to Webacy for giving us some information, they just want to let you know that they are now serving more than 23,000 users, 150 million in assets protected, and 300,000 monitored transactions through their suite of tools using their DApp at webacy.com. Feel free to check it out. They're also on the 5th of September, which is next Tuesday, I believe. They're launching Risk Score Plus, which is, I guess, an improvement on this product, which is a product for AML and KYC needs for those protocols that are not MSBs or money service businesses. So thanks to Webacy for being a good friend of the show, and hopefully we get them back on soon as either part of the panel or as a future AMA. So if you are looking for, and I actually have this, I went ahead and minted I minted a couple of NFTs on my Eigenlayer mint for NFTs. That's today, by the way. It ends in 10 minutes. If you haven't done that for Eigenworlds, when I minted that, it actually showed up on my WebAssy account, and I got an email telling me that there was activity. So it does work. It works pretty well. They have multiple products here to check it out, especially with their panic button and backup wallet, which you can use. Feel free to check them out. And yeah, congrats on making it to Arbitrum and soon Polygon, and hopefully soon to Optimism and other chains far and wide. Thoughts, guys, or I'll go ahead and move on.
I've personally used their products. The alerts seem kind of cool.
Yeah,
I use hardware wallets and stuff. So hopefully I wouldn't be getting any alerts I didn't expect if I was
sometimes that's why it's worth tracking that stuff. You can certainly do that and have a nice little UI to do so.
Do you guys ever check the bank and like you already had the debank page open like on your phone or something or your browser, and it just like doesn't load and it says like 0 for a second, and you like panic refresh, you're like, oh my god, it's over, and then you refresh and all your stuff's there? Does that ever happen? I have that experience like once a month.
It definitely happens. It definitely happens.
Well, that's why we spread out our assets across multiple addresses, right? So, but
exactly. Yeah. And it didn't make it to the agenda, but I just want to say, we've had a ton of unfortunate SIM swap attacks on major people in this space. I mean, again, we always tell you not to use a phone when it comes to this, but definitely do not use SMS authentication. Use a YubiKey. Use, an authenticator platform like Authy or Google Authenticator or whatever else is out there to protect against things like this from happening. And definitely do not use your phone for on-chain activities. Anyway.
And more than that, if someone in a Discord that you're in for a project links a new link that's external from the project site and tells you to sign up for some new cool feature that they added, maybe don't click it straight away and ask another couple of admins to confirm first.
Yep.
Don't Google anything. Verify. Use DeFi Llama. Don't click any links in Discord.
Bookmarks. And like in these days with so many SIM swaps happening, like Gabe said, it's best to just like, even if it comes from a trusted source, wait a little bit. Yeah.
Especially if it's like a limited time thing where they try and say, oh, there's a limited amount of spots or something and you got to hurry to get in quick so you don't have time to do your due diligence. Yeah.
Quick jingle. Hand me your credit card. Don't worry about it. It's an emergency. I need your credit card. Otherwise, my dog's going to die.
Do you take Apple Pay, sir?
Yep. Shoot it over.
Do you take Dogecoin? Dogecoin on X payments only.
So yeah, I think WebAssy is cool. When we last talked to them, it seemed like they needed to have some better integrations for people that were already using hardware wallets. So it sounded like there were some things missing there. But I love the project. And I'm also excited to see more subscription-based consumer-facing businesses in the space.
I agree. We definitely need more of those. These are the things that are going to bring people back into the space. So more of these things that can help with
quality of life.
The better. Quality of life, man. Speaking of quality of life, is it possible that Coinbase can solve the tax problem? So basically what's going on here is that, they're proposing a fix for DeFi tax reporting. This is reported by Axios. But they actually do have a paper here where they're creating soul-bound tax tokens. Soul-bound meaning you cannot sell them once you mint them. I don't know how I feel about this. Not that we're trying to hide anything. but having soul-bound tokens that help simplify your tax by, being able to record and then provide this information to the IRS in a way that, makes it easy to, get cost basis, to, figure out exactly what needs to be verified with the IRS. Andrew,
I think
I
I'd
see the
rather
look on your
scan my
face.
eyeball.
Really? WorldCoin good, eh?
I mean, it seems like they're just calculating based on your crypto wallets. Like, there's a lot of other services like this. If it can provide a service where I literally just put in my wallet addresses and it just spits out my tax returns, and obviously you want to check it, but yeah, less work for me is good.
What do you think, James?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got to pay your taxes. This doesn't change that. So if it makes it easier to get that number and makes it probably more accurate, that'd be cool. I don't like having
token, though.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't like having
KYCing you to the entire chain.
Yeah, I
Pretty
don't
much.
like having it sit on be your W-2 token, right? Like anybody knows your ENS or like, oh, that's how much they made, last year and the year before and the year before that on this address. Like, I mean, they can obviously calculate that. Like, that's not private, it's a public blockchain, but at least it's not all wrapped up in one token that just has the number, like P&L 2022 token, that'd be a painful one, probably P&L 2022. They pick a different one. So yeah. We'll see.
They try so hard and still the SEC won't let them be.
Yeah, I know, really. Like, this is, Coinbase, I get it, but maybe chill, dude. Chill a little bit. And if my experience with crypto tax software, this seems like they're just pandering to the SEC or the feds, maybe, because like there are entire companies where their whole product is crypto tax software, and using it, I don't want to say a nightmare, but it's really not a very pleasant dream. It is like one of those dreams where you wake up and you're not like, it wasn't a feverish nightmare, but you wake up and you're like, oh man, I'm glad I'm back in this reality. Like, that is what doing your taxes is like when you are a crypto user. It's like from really like the tail end of the year until February, March, April, whenever you file your taxes, it's like you have this dark cloud over your existence. Like, oh man, I've got 1,479 transactions left to go through. Like, you're talking to all your friends, like, oh, what month are you on? Like, I'm on March. It's like, oh, I'm on April, and you're going through all these month after month of transactions trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And it's not going to be automatable, like with a high degree of accuracy and no human poking around for a little while, because I mean, at least Token Tax, Coinly, those types of companies, like they're trying to crack the nut and figure out how to do it most efficiently. And it's tough. There's a lot of weird tokens out there, LP tokens and V3 NFTs and, whatever. So it's all, and then like utility tokens that don't necessarily have a value, but then you make a transaction. There's like 6 different tokens moving around your wallet. It's like a whole nightmare, dude. So yeah, good luck to Coinbase on that.
I'd also like to put out, if you want to put in the chat, tell us what tax service did you use for your taxes this year with your on-chain finance transactions. Would love to see how many of them are not Coinly. And we'd like to get some suggestions for some actually really decent ones that are not called Coinly, that are fairly accurate at certain types of transactions. So in any case, if you could have them meet us at ETH Miami at the end of October, that would be fantastic. So feel free to see us there in Miami. Although by then I'll have filed the rest of my taxes for my extension. So I might be a bit vulnerable, a bit emotional at the end of October. I might need a hug or three. So, and there you go. Well, this is
at least you won't have been fired from your own company.
Fair enough. This is true.
Unless
this is true. Unless what?
nothing. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to like do a callback to the start of the show, you know.
Yes, I get that.
But I tried.
That was okay.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Chris likes to party.
Just like totally tried, but didn't do the best.
And I think there are several federal investigations open on our boy
I would
here.
not welcome a federal investigation currently. If anything, it could be into why my house is has been built so poorly. I would love a federal investigation on that.
It's because the ATF is hiding in your basement. They're just shaking the foundation whenever they.
They probably are. It's very dark in that corner over there. There's probably just a hideout where I have my cat litter. That's where they come from. Cat
litter and federal agents. Things you'll find in Chris's Chris's basement.
That's going to be the final Jeopardy question 3 weeks from now. All right, that's what we got for today, guys. Thanks for joining us today. Jay, anything you want to push?
I don't know, man. I want to hang out a little bit longer. I guess we are over time. Go ahead and smash the like button. Appreciate you coming. Make sure you're subscribed. If you got any friends that are, I would say, crypto curious, you point them our way. beatthebanks.circle.so. And if you got any friends that are a little bit more seasoned, maybe you point them to this podcast. They can hang out with us every Wednesday at noon Eastern time. We'll see you next week.
Have a great Wednesday, everybody. 07.
See you next week.
Talk soon.
Man buns out.